Have you ever wondered how the news you see shapes your views on politics? You might be surprised to learn that around 70% of Americans get their news from social media. This means that a tweet or a viral video can influence millions overnight. In fact, studies show that news shared on social media is 6 times more likely to be shared than traditional news articles. But here's the kicker: most people don't realize how much power the media holds over political decisions. A 2019 survey by the Pew Research Center revealed that 68% of Americans believe news outlets play a major role in shaping public opinion. Yet, many don't see how media narratives can sway policies or even elections. In this video, we'll explore the hidden puppet strings between media and politics. We'll discuss how media giants, influential social media stars, and editorial choices create the narratives we see every day. You'll learn about the strategies used to manipulate public emotion and how certain voices dominate the conversation. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind the headlines. By the end, you'll see the world of politics in a whole new light. Chapter 1: The Hidden Puppet Master. Media's quiet power over policy. Most people don't realize how much influence the media has on policy decisions. Politicians often react to the media narrative, especially when it comes to hot-button issues. This isn't just about breaking news but how stories are framed over time. Media outlets have the power to either amplify a political issue or let it fade into the background. For example, during the Iraq War, the media's portrayal of weapons of mass destruction played a crucial role in swaying public opinion in favor of the invasion. In reality, the evidence for these weapons was weak, but the media pushed the narrative until it became a driving force for policy. One of the key strategies media uses is agenda setting. This means they decide what stories get covered, which in turn forces politicians to focus on those issues. A study by McCombs and Shaw in the 1970s coined this term, and the effect is still as strong today. When the media focuses on something, politicians have to respond. Ignoring it can lead to public backlash. But the influence doesn't stop there. Think tanks and lobbyists often work with media outlets to promote certain policies. They provide experts, data, and exclusive stories that make it easier for reporters to create narratives that align with specific agendas. The book Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky and Edward Herman highlights how this relationship creates a system where media serves elite interests. The public rarely sees the strings being pulled. In recent years, social media has expanded this dynamic. Politicians now monitor platforms like Twitter and Facebook for public sentiment. A 2018 Pew Research Center report showed that 62% of US adults get their news from social media. This means media platforms are more than just storytellers, they're the gatekeepers of political discourse. Politicians are keenly aware of this, adjusting their policies to fit the narrative that gets the most attention. Chapter 2: Manufactured Outrage. How headlines shape public emotion. Media has mastered the art of stirring emotions, particularly outrage. It's not an accident. Headlines are crafted to provoke a strong response, often using emotional language to grab attention. Anger, fear, and shock are proven to increase engagement, as people are more likely to share articles that evoke these emotions. A study by the American Press Institute found that emotionally charged stories are shared 2.3 times more than neutral ones. This is called emotion-driven journalism, and it's a powerful tool. When a political issue is framed in an emotional way, it influences how the public feels about it, and ultimately, how they vote. Take the example of immigration. Headlines that focus on the invasion or flood of migrants create a sense of urgency and fear, pushing voters to support stricter immigration laws. The media also uses framing to direct how the public interprets events. Let's say there's a protest. If the media calls it a riot instead of a peaceful demonstration, it immediately changes how the audience perceives the event. In 2020, during the Black Lives Matter protests, the difference in media coverage between different outlets was stark. Some framed the protests as necessary movements for justice, while others focused on isolated incidents of looting to create outrage. Another strategy is selective reporting, only showing parts of a story that fit the desired narrative. For example, in the 2016 US election, Russian interference was often reported as an isolated cyber issue. However, it was later revealed through investigations that a vast disinformation campaign was also taking place. The media initially downplayed this, focusing on more clickable controversies. The truth is, outrage sells. News outlets rely on ad revenue, and anger boosts clicks. But while this strategy may increase profits, it also distorts public perception of political issues. The public ends up misinformed, acting on emotion rather than fact. And when politicians see that outrage is driving the conversation, they respond in kind, often escalating their rhetoric to match the public's mood. Chapter 3: The Echo Chamber Effect. Why you're only hearing half the story in today's media landscape. People tend to hear only what they already believe. This phenomenon is called the echo chamber effect. The algorithms on social media and even some news websites are designed to show you content that aligns with your views. This keeps people engaged but also isolates them from opposing viewpoints. A 2016 study by Pew Research found that 64% of Americans say that fake news has caused confusion about basic facts or current events. When people live in echo chambers, their beliefs are constantly reinforced, while opposing views are filtered out. This creates an environment where misinformation thrives. Echo chambers are powerful because they make it seem like everyone around you agrees with your views. This can lead to group polarization, where people in like-minded groups become more extreme in their opinions over time. Political scientists have warned that this creates deeper divisions in society, as people become more entrenched in their beliefs and less willing to compromise. One key strategy that media companies use to maintain echo chambers is personalization algorithms. Every time you click on a news article or a social media post, the platform takes note of your preferences and shows you more content like it. Over time, this creates a bubble where you're only exposed to ideas that reinforce what you already think. According to a study by MIT, people are 36% more likely to share content that aligns with their pre-existing beliefs, further reinforcing the bubble. But it's not just social media. Traditional news outlets also contribute to the echo chamber effect. News channels like Fox News or MSNBC have a clear bias, and their viewers are more likely to watch only one of these outlets. Over time, they become less exposed to neutral or opposing perspectives. In a 2014 Gallup poll, 44% of Americans said they trusted news organizations less than ever before. One reason for this is that people recognize how media outlets often play to their base, amplifying only one side of the story. The danger here is that echo chambers deepen political polarization, making it harder for society to find common ground. When people are only exposed to a narrow set of ideas, their understanding of political issues becomes skewed. This not only affects how they vote but how they view their fellow citizens. And, ultimately, this fragmentation serves the interests of politicians and media outlets who benefit from a divided public. If you find this discussion eye-opening, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more insights into the impact of media on politics. Chapter 4: Media Kingpins, the billionaires behind political narratives. Few people talk about who controls the media, but ownership matters. Behind major news outlets, there are wealthy individuals and corporations shaping what stories get told. This isn't some conspiracy theory, it's simply how the media industry works. The majority of media in the US is controlled by just 5 corporations: Comcast, Disney, AT&T, Viacom CBS, and Fox Corporation. These conglomerates have a lot at stake in how political issues are portrayed, especially when it comes to policies that affect their business interests. Take Rupert Murdoch, for example. He owns Fox News, which has been instrumental in shaping conservative narratives in the US. His influence on politics is undeniable. Politicians often seek his approval or try to stay in line with his media empire's viewpoints. A 2017 study by the Journal of Politics found that Fox News significantly impacts voting patterns, shifting elections by several percentage points in favor of Republican candidates. On the other side, Jeff Bezos, owner of The Washington Post, plays a similar role. While Bezos isn't directly involved in day-to-day editorial decisions, the paper's stance on issues like corporate taxes and antitrust regulation could be seen as aligning with Amazon's interests. According to media analyst Robert McChesney, the relationship between media owners and their outlets is complex but clear. There's no doubt that ownership influences content, whether subtly or overtly. This creates a unique strategy called editorial gatekeeping. Billionaire media owners can ensure certain topics get more attention while others are underreported. It's not always about lying or manipulating facts. Sometimes, it's just about deciding what gets covered. A study by Harvard Business School in 2018 found that newspapers owned by billionaires were less likely to publish stories critical of economic inequality or wealth concentration. This consolidation of media power narrows the range of political discourse. Fewer perspectives get represented, and public debates become limited to what's profitable for those who own the platforms. So, while the media seems like it's just reporting the news, it's also pushing specific political narratives that benefit a small group of very powerful people. Chapter 5: The Rise of Influencers in Politics. When tweets hold more power than speeches today, social media influencers play a massive role in shaping political opinions. In many cases, they're more influential than traditional politicians or news outlets. A 2020 report by Edelman Trust Barometer found that 63% of people trust influencers over government institutions when it comes to political or social issues. This shift has transformed how political conversations happen online. Influencers have unique access to large, engaged audiences. When they take a stance on political issues, it can drive action. For example, in 2018, YouTuber Logan Paul encouraged his audience to register to vote. According to Rock the Vote, that single call to action led to tens of thousands of new voters registering online. A key strategy used by influencers is relatability. Unlike traditional politicians, influencers build their following by being real and approachable. This makes their political opinions feel more authentic to their audience. Politicians, on the other hand, often come across as distant or rehearsed, especially when compared to the raw, unfiltered content influencers share. But there's more to it than just popularity. Influencers also use micro-targeting strategies, tailoring their content to fit the specific interests and values of their audience. By engaging with niche communities, they can push political narratives in a more personal and effective way than large media corporations can. A 2019 study by Pew Research found that 55% of social media users have changed their political views after following an influencer or peer with strong opinions. What's more, influencers aren't bound by journalistic standards. They can spread their message without worrying about fact-checking or editorial oversight. This creates an environment where misinformation can spread quickly. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, several high-profile influencers promoted conspiracy theories, which led to a rise in anti-vaccine sentiment among their followers. This rise of influencers in politics is both exciting and troubling. While they bring new voices into the conversation, they also operate outside traditional accountability structures. As their power grows, it's crucial to recognize the impact they're having on how political opinions are shaped. If you found these insights valuable, please subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening discussions about the media's influence on politics.